is Professor Mansur Matazu. He's the Director General of NiMet. You are welcome to our studios.
Thank you, and good morning, Nigerians.
Now, let's start with your 2022 seasonal climate prediction. Of course, it's just a prediction.
Yes.
You do that to, put people on the alert, warn people about the possible weather conditions that will be experienced in a particular year. Now, from your prediction and reality, is there synergy so far?
In all our previous forecasts for the last 15 years, we've been recording more than 95% precision and accuracy. And even according to WMO, 60% precision is good because the weather is a natural phenomena and it's dynamic. But we integrated in our case updates, periodic updates on a monthly basis. We also do have weekly heavy rainfall updates, and we do also have the 3-day high impact weather update, in addition to the daily forecasting that also NTA helps us to also broadcast.
But Prof, the thing is, I can't help but to wonder if we have predictions out as early as February. You expect that, okay, it's not yet the rainy season, so we have time to prepare, to take the necessary precaution to avert the, the challenge of flood we have been experiencing in the country. But despite that, of course, just this morning from Leadership Weekend, it's there just beside you, flooding houses, farms, destroy as residents seek shelter in Yobe State. It's not just Yobe. We have different parts of the country still grappling with flood challenge. Exactly. What happens? Is it that we don't take this prediction serious?
Actually, there's need for serious improvement with regards to integration of our focus and what we call decision support advisories to various MDAs and other relevant stakeholders, and of course users at the grassroots level to comply. I will give an example like for agriculture. A simple uptake of our information will guarantee 95% reduction in climate extreme event risk, and will also tend to increase yields of any farmer by about 30-35%. And for early warning, in the whole value chain of climate services, we have 3 strata. And the first strata is the producer strata, which NiMet and Nigerian Hydrological Agency stands. We issued our forecast as early as February, and NISA followed up with annual flood outlook in late April. And this must have given enough information and lead time for different MDAs, which we now considered as enablers. And these enablers will definitely therefore integrate and then adopt and relay the information to their various sectors. And these sectors include agriculture, water resources, including the dam management, health, because of the climate-induced diseases like malaria and meningitis, road constructions, transportation, etc. So at times this is where the disconnect exists. I can pretty say that at the federal level we have been experiencing excellent horizontal coordination in terms of information flow and response. But the disconnect we experience is the vertical flow of that information to state and local levels. And this, I must say, that we always preach and appeal to the state governments, the subnationals, to always align their activities and approach us. We don't, at no cost, NiMet and NISA provide these services, and after the national focus, we engage in downscaling.
Exactly. Talking about the downscaling, and of course you go as far as translating this into different languages. So 3 major languages we have in the country. Yet,
yeah, I think response is poor, and we really need to do more on this. And on this, I would like to appeal, like we have a working relationship with national Orientation Agency and also Federal Ministry of Communications, we need to do a lot of sensitization so that people take weather forecast decisions of us integrated information into their activities, because the business is no more as usual with regards to climate, because we've been seeing extreme events occurring even in areas that they've never had such issues. In Europe, they've recorded extreme heat waves. In Australia, it rained for over 1,000 millimeter of rain within 24 hours. And we are seeing a replica of such even in the country. It rained in Lagos for consecutive 5 days, and parts of Yobe, or 13 communities were also submerged, and most of which also had to relocate to other communities. And even in our recent update of our forecast, we still have more floods coming in this July that will affect parts of northeast of Taraba and pockets of southwest, and the extreme pockets also of northwest, parts of Sokoto and Kebbi State. So compliance and also integration of the forecast information into planning, into our daily activities is very critical. We've gone very far in translating this, and we've issued this document, and they are also available on our website. We also came up with an app that people can access this information across all the 774 local governments areas, and which is also free at NiMet SCP on all the Play Store and Apple Store.
Is that the name of the app?
Yeah, NiMet SCP.
Okay.
Yeah, we've graduated from rainfall prediction to climate prediction, because the document contains detailed parameters beyond rainfall, including temperature forecast, especially during the hot season.
Okay. Now, let me quickly take this question from one of our viewers. This is Aliu Kula from Borno State. He says, please, Prof, what are the non-scientific factors in weather forecasts?
Yeah, it's a very good question. We have what we call traditional methods of weather forecasts. In parts of the world, they've documented this, and even in Nigeria, this exists, what they popularly call as rainmakers, and looking at some behavior of plants and animals to predict weather. Really? Of recent, we are having a collaboration with Nasarawa State University, Department of History and Archaeology, to be able to document this, because it has not been documented from our available record in the country. I will give one example of goat. Goat, they have magnetic feet, and as such, they react to electrical current and discharge. So a goat, whenever communities sees goat becoming restless and run amok, so that shows that there is an approaching thunderstorm. And they can have this feeling from about 400 kilometers. So if there is thunderstorm around Lokoja, goats around Abuja could be feeling that, and the moment they become restless, so people will have an idea that in the next few weeks we're going to have rain. And then also there are some plants and animals. There's one in the north they popularly call damina, and then also we have some shrubs that sprout up during the transition of dry season to rainy season. So
that's quite detailed.
This is very critical, and we also consider it as an input into our forecast, including the rainmakers, but which we have also realized that it has an element of science, because there's maybe introduction of smoke into the atmosphere, which also tally with the cloud seeding.
When you say rainmakers, the idea quickly is maybe there's any spiritual thing that you do.
It has scientific link based on our analysis, but forecasting, you require a lot of input into it, and what we are doing in NiMet is even involving the communities. Of recent, we have distributed what we call farmers' rain gauges, simple rain gauges that they will mount around their plot of farmlands or community center to be able to observe rain, and then with that they can the documents. We have seen a community in Jibia that an individual was recording rainfall days from 1982 to date. So such people just require additional support to be able
That's
to
an
do a lot. So
incredible.
it helps us a lot in getting feedback from the community and also in creating awareness among such communities, which is really what is lacking presently.
Okay, creating awareness. I know it's not just your job alone. You have other sister agencies that should be involved in this awareness creation. But one key thing is the fact that the people continue to build on waterways. People, continue to, erect buildings, farming on floodplains, and then despite, the warnings, they will tell you, if you ask me not to engage this land, where else do you want me to go?
I think that is why I recall vividly participated in the updating the building code of the country, and there's also a chapter that is on climate. So for each eco-climatic zone of this country, it has some specification based on the prevailing weather condition on what to do with regards to building structures, including housing. We are forging ahead to establish a relationship with urban and regional planning departments and agencies so that they continue to sensitize people. And also enforcement is very critical here, preventing people from living on floodplains because for any river that has reached maturity level, it creates a floodplain 10 times than the size of the river, the width of the river. So, and for flood, scientific evidence indicates that we have what we call return period of floods. It's either either 3 years and then on the minimum, and then you can have 10 years and 50 years and 1 century. That is 100-year return period. And the longer the years, the higher the magnitude. Yeah. Like the 1999 floods that happened in the country was a 50-year return floods. So all this needs to be put into consideration in having city plans, and also enforcement is very critical. And then people should understand that exposure to risks, especially now with regards to climate change, extreme events, is very dangerous.
Okay, we'll talk further about climate change after we must have taken our next report. And before that, I was sharing with our viewer that, when I was a kid, we would play in the rain. And then at the end of the day, yes, our parents never liked the idea. But, instead of the excitement, the love for the weather and everything, we began to, resent it because of the destruction that comes with it, without knowing that we also play our own part in ensuring that we experience that destruction. So this indiscriminate waste disposal is one of the actions we engage in as individuals that cause flooding. So let's take this report put together by Dio.
A major cause of flooding in Nigeria is attributed to the indiscriminate dumping of refuse at the blocks, drains, gutters, and canals. Despite early yearly warnings of the high rain intensity from Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, some Nigerians still clog the drains, gutters, and canals, and ultimately orchestrate flooding, making a very bad situation worse.
Poor waste management has several consequences, one of which also leads to loss of biological diversity because it pollutes the land and water. And another one is blocking of drainage systems, which has another consequence of creating flooding, massive flooding. Every city is planned with drainage systems and all that. When people now dispose of their wastes in a way that is not environment friendly, that is in a way that does not tally with the original plan of that city, it generates a lot of problems, one of which is flooding through blockade of drainage systems.
There are different layers of waste disposal that are universally accepted, but in Nigeria, we dump all waste together without differentiating between recycling, landfill collections, incineration, and thermal treatment plants.
There are policies, directives to minimize waste minimization. We have not started implementing or even evolved such policies as not using polythene bags for whatever anyone purchases. Paper bags can do. There are many other ways of minimizing waste. Having said that, when the waste is already there, they have to have the proper agencies managing. Many states have, of course, we know that. Even local governments have that. But it's not just enough to have agencies. The infrastructure for waste management must be there. Something like that exists in many places. I know many states have the waste management authorities. They're empowered to effect arrests, prosecute, punish. They have such establishments. I think we should do more of empowerment of the existing management agencies and tweaking them a little bit to give them the power to enforce some laws, to effect arrests, to prosecute, and things like that.
Nigerians must be well sensitized on the use of effective waste management to change their poor waste disposal habits. This will go a long way not only to reduce the occurrence of incessant flooding, it will also keep the environment clean and reduce the negative impact on the health of the populace.
Well, to reduce the negative impact on the health of individuals, because if you do not create a way for water, it will certainly create its own way. You can't, really stop that. So your best bet is to stay off the, floodplains. Now, Prof, before we, end this session, somebody is asking, what is the best method to adopt in averting flood in our rural communities? So it goes ahead to say, how can local rural communities source for fund against flood and other relief materials? This is coming from Ndabida Abdul Latif from Kano State.
Okay, thanks so much. Thank you, Ndabida. Actually, in our prediction, we offer advisories based on sectors, and like for farming and early warning, we provide what we call climate smart actions of clearing drainages, establishing some structures even in the farmlands, and also especially tree planting helps to stabilize and reduce flow of water. A lot of advisories are detailed in our focus, and they can access it either online and even including the translated one. But because of time, I'll go through the issue of relief. As I said, in the value chain of climate services, we are the producers of the service, and we have enablers which relay the information. So part of these enablers who relay the information to the users at the grassroots, we have NEMA. And NEMA is responsible for providing relief materials, especially when there is issue of disaster or damages to property around communities. So it's just to align with the relevant local authorities, and also including proper documentation. It also helps documenting incidences and then also working as a community. Based on our collaboration, some communities in the north, under the IFAD project, they have what they call climate change agents at their community level, and who also attend some of our trainings and roving workshops. So it's just to align and liaise with the relevant local authorities.
So in essence, it's fair to say that we are doing our best to adapt to the climate change, scenario in the country.
Yeah, we're doing a lot in terms of policy and also implementation of such policy at the federal level. But we need to do more at the grassroots, subnational level, especially state at the state, which covers the local and the district levels.
Well, this certainly is a collective responsibility.
Very much.
I must say thank you very much, Prof, for sharing your time with us. Yes, we have been speaking with DG NiMet, that is Professor Mansur Matazu.